Hi everyone! Thanks for visiting my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Carol, the Thrifty Chic Housewife, and I'm glad that you stopped by. If you enjoy the content you find here, please consider subscribing, like, and share my videos, and follow me on social media. I will leave all the links in the description box below. So, today we are going to be doing something delicious with our sauerkraut. Several weeks ago, if you all missed it, I showed you how to make homemade sauerkraut, and I promised you some recipes for using it. So today I'm going to keep my promise, and I'm going to share with you how to make sauerkraut salad. So good, and it keeps for quite a while in the fridge. And it's really good for you if you're using the homemade sauerkraut. Now, if you haven't made homemade sauerkraut, you can totally use commercial sauerkraut. That's fine to do, but homemade sauerkraut is amazing, and I highly encourage you to give it a try if you have not. Sauerkraut salad involves some sugar in the dressing part, so we need to dissolve the sugar. Now, there are a lot of different recipes for making sauerkraut salad, and some people heat the dressing to dissolve the sugar, and then there are other people who just let it sit until the sugar dissolves. So I think we're going to go with the latter today and just let it dissolve. I did come across a recipe from, it's supposed to be an authentic recipe from a German grandma, and her method is to put your sauerkraut in a bowl and sprinkle the sugar over top, mix it together, and let it sit for about 15 minutes, and that helps to dissolve the sugar. So that's the process that we are going to do. And like I said, we are going to be using the delicious sauerkraut that we made from scratch. So the first thing I'm going to do is put my sauerkraut in a bowl. Now, I want to reserve most of the liquid, so I'm going to kind of drain it as I put it in my bowl. I'm just going to kind of lift it out. We need 2 to 3 cups of sauerkraut. You can drain it with a colander if you want to. I don't think you need to be that exact. At least for me, I don't need to be that exact. So I'm not going to drain it that way. I'm just going to kind of lift it out of the liquid. And 3 cups of sauerkraut is about what I have left of what I've made. And you're gonna need about a half a cup of the liquid that comes with your sauerkraut, and it looks like that's just about what I'm going to have left. So I'm just gonna set that aside, and then we are going to take a half a cup of sugar. And I know that sounds like a lot, but most of the recipes that I drew from use double that in sugar or more. And I wanted a recipe that didn't have quite that much sugar in it. So the half a cup for me works really well. You can adjust that if you want it sweeter. You can add more sugar if you want. If you want it less sweet, you can use less. But we do want, your dressing turns out to be kind of a sweet and sour kind of thing. So you do want to use enough that you get that sweet flavor with the sour part. So we're just going to mix that together. And we're going to let that sit for about 15 minutes until the sugar starts to break down, and then we'll add our other ingredients and mix it all together. Okay, our kraut has been sitting with the sugar for about 15 minutes. So now we're ready to add our other ingredients. Now like I said, there are a lot of different recipes out there, so you can kind of pick and choose, and you can even add some of your own veggies if you want. I'm going to be adding, and you're gonna want about a cup of each of the veggies. So I have about 1 cup of red pepper. You could also use green bell pepper. You could use yellow, whatever. So about a cup of sweet bell pepper, whichever kind you want. We need about a cup of celery, chopped celery, a cup of grated carrot, which is about 1 to 1.5 large carrot. Yeah, 1 to 1.5 large carrots will give you about a cup of grated or shredded carrot. And then we also need about a cup of sweet onion. Okay guys, we're ready to put everything together now. We're gonna go ahead and finish our dressing, and I have about a half of a cup of reserved liquid from my sauerkraut. And to that, I'm going to add about 1/3 of a cup of olive oil. And then I'm also going to add about a teaspoon of celery seed. And I'm just going to give that a whisk. And just let that hang out for a few minutes while we put the rest of our ingredients together. So, like I said, we want about a cup of chopped sweet onion. A cup of shredded carrot. A cup of celery chopped. And a cup of bell pepper. I'm using red, but you could use a combination, or you could use green, yellow, whatever you like. And now we're just going to mix that together. All right, once you have your veggies nicely mixed together, then you can go ahead and add your dressing. And just give it a toss. Now, you want to use salt and pepper to taste, but sauerkraut on its own is usually quite salty, so I'm not going to add any salt, but I am going to use some freshly ground black pepper. And just give that a stir. Taste it. If you want to add some more salt, if you think it needs more salt, you can add more salt. I'm not going to add any more to mine. Mine was plenty salty on its own. So we're just going to let that hang out, let those flavors marry, sit it in the fridge for a while, and then I'll bring you back and we'll give it a taste. Okay guys, once your sauerkraut has set for several hours, you are ready to eat it. They recommend 4 hours or so, 4 to 6 hours if you have the time to let it sit that long. The longer it sits, the better it is. So even making it the day before is really great. But I'm ready to give ours a taste. But I want to show you, see how pretty it is? It's just as beautiful as it is tasty. I love all of the beautiful colors in the salad. So let's give it a taste and see how we did. Has delicious crunch. I love that. And that's the thing I love about the homemade sauerkraut, is it's so crunchy when you make it and let it ferment and you keep it in the refrigerator. Once you can it, it loses some of that. So I prefer the fresh made sauerkraut. And then you have all the other crunchy vegetables. You have a nice sweet and sour taste going on there. It's so good. But like I said, you can adjust your veggies, number one. You can also adjust the sweetness level of it. So if you want more sugar, you can add more sugar. Like I said, many recipes that I found call for a lot more sugar than the half a cup. Most of them called for even a whole cup of sugar. That's a lot of sugar for me. I don't really need that much. I think the half a cup of sugar was perfect, but adjust it to your taste. So anyway, here's another delicious way to use up some of that homemade sauerkraut. Great for the summer barbecue season that we have going on. Summer just started yesterday, so I'm ready to go. So I hope you'll give this a try. Thanks so much for joining me today. Have a great day, and I will see you next time.